Now, if you're like most women on dating apps, you're waiting for the man to make that very first move. Of course, unless it's on Bumble, where you as a woman has to make that first move, which coincidentally is one aspect I do love about Bumble as a platform. Anyhow, we'll talk more about why in this video. Now, perhaps you think men should just take the lead. Maybe you have this idea that women should always receive. Perhaps it's more feminine that way, which is not true at all. Or perhaps you feel like it's too risky making that first move. What if it shows too much interest up front? You'd never want to be chasing a man now, would you? So look, I can completely understand if you have any of those feelings. And at no point will I ever tell you to pursue a man. See, initiating and pursuing are very different things. It's very important to learn the distinctions between the two. I mean, you can initiate all you want and still not be pursuing. I really want you to get that. So what if I told you that you can have so much more success in online dating if you as the woman made that very first move? And best of all, you can do it without looking desperate, looking like you're showing too much interest or chasing a man. And when I say success, I mean starting exciting conversations in a high value way. I mean the ability to create and cultivate emotional connection with a man online. Ultimately, the goal here, of course, is to have so much emotional attraction and romantic tension that it turns into exhilarating real-life dates. So let me give you some very good reasons why you as a woman should be the one making the first move in online dating. And look, I'm not here to tell you what to do. After all, who do I think I am, right? However, I do know for a fact that you will find success in online dating so much easier, so much quicker if you listen to my advice, just so you know. Okay, reason number one. Men are much worse at dating than you could ever imagine. And let me add to that. Men are much worse at conversing with women than you could ever imagine. In other words, most men have no idea how to keep a conversation alive, let alone interesting with a woman. And the ones who do may actually fall into the category of a smooth talker. Now, I've written a whole article on the dangers of smooth talkers, so I'll put that link below just in case you want to read it. But think about it. What do girls and women do when they get together from a young age? They talk, right? But what do boys and men do when they get together from a young age? They play sports, they play games, they wrestle, they basically challenge each other. The last thing boys and men do when they get together is talk. So there's no surprises there that they are not very good at keeping conversations alive and going with women, especially in such a superficial environment such as online dating. Make sense? They don't know what the right thing is to say. They may find it difficult to find the right words. And the last thing they want to do is to offend you in any way, because the truth is, if men communicated to women the same way they do to other men, you'd be offended faster than that text flashes on your phone screen. So it's sometimes easy to think that most men online are duds. But if you judge women upon their ability to change a flat tire or reverse parallel park, then most women may seem like duds too. See, men just aren't good at communicating and relating to women. That's it. That's the bottom line. And women are 1,000 times better at talking, communicating, and conversing than men will ever be. So what tends to happen in online dating is that those conversations that men initiate and lead, they tend to end up nowhere. How was your weekend? Where do you live? So what hobbies do you like? This kind of useless small talk will absolutely kill a conversation in no time. And this is why you as a woman have infinitely better skills and ability to keep a conversation going if you were to initiate and lead. And now this isn't to say that you have to always lead, not at all, just in the initial online stages. Once you get the ball rolling, I can promise you that men will start to take the lead willingly and naturally, especially in person in real life. So if you were to ever succeed in online dating, you absolutely need to know how to create and keep the conversation momentum going. That's the reason why I've put together my free class on the concept of high value banter. The promise of high value banter is so that you can instantly inject excitement, playfulness, and romantic tension into any moment in your online conversations. Now, the class goes for about 40 minutes, and you can get access to it at highvaluebanter.com. That's highvaluebanter.com. Now, I highly recommend you go through that class. Okay, reason number 2 of why women should always initiate in online dating. Because believe it or not, in real life, women actually initiate more than 70% of the time. Except women use very subtle signals that on the surface, it looks like men are actually making the first moves. So in science, this is called subtle signaling. Now, I'll give you an example. A woman walks into a bar with some of her friends. She engages in a long, steady scan around the room, ultimately fixing her gaze on a man she finds attractive. Now, this gaze, this eye contact, is really important here because it's one of the biggest signals of interest, yet it is still very subtle. This woman then maintains this extended gaze at this man until he notices her. She smiles, and then she breaks the gaze. Now, she does that a few more times until he approaches her, right? So from the outside, it looks like he made the first move, but in reality, the woman did. And for the most part, men intuitively know that they need to be invited to speak to a woman through these body language signals. Otherwise, most men have subconsciously learned that women will just shut them down again and again without these subtle signals first. Now, there are some very interesting studies on this idea of subtle signaling. So go and check them out if you love science as much as I do. Here are all the references. Now, the problem is, this subtle signaling doesn't exist in online dating. So men are often working in the dark, per se, hoping for a good response. They're not able to respond to the natural subtle signals that women usually give. And as a result, men put little effort into each interaction and play the numbers game. You just copy and paste the same message to, let's say, 100, 1,000 women, and surely some will respond positively, right? Because at the end of the day, it's important to understand that intimate relationship is indeed a feminine domain. I mean, when do men ever talk about relationships, right? And as such, women as a whole intuitively and instinctively lead that relationship process in their own very subtle ways. So let's really respect that process. Now, you might be thinking, isn't it masculine to lead? Well, no, absolutely not. That's complete garbage spread by people who don't really know about the true dynamics between men and women, let alone masculine versus feminine. Okay, reason number 3. By you as a woman initiating, you get the power to set the tone, set the pace, and the style of the entire conversation. Now, if it were up to most men, they'd either want to have you come over tonight, or they'll become a forever pen pal. Because men simply don't get the process of a committed relationship. It's not intuitive to them. So take it easy on men, will you? They're kind of thick when it comes to intimate and committed relationships. They need your guidance more than you could ever imagine. So by setting the tone, the pace of the conversation, if a man were to come on too fast, let's say, then you can slow down the conversation if you need to. The power is in your hands if you allow yourself to do so. And as I always say, if you lead with a boring icebreaker, then that sets the tone for the rest of the conversation. And yes, you can recover from it, but as they say, you can only make the first impression once. That's exactly why I've created some high-value icebreakers for you, and why I've taken the time to really put together a whole class for you on the topic of high-value banter. These are super important when it comes to online dating as a woman. Look, online dating is tough as it is, so don't make it any harder for yourself by being boring. So take the lead, initiate when it comes to online dating, but only do it in a high-value way. Don't just say, hey, how's it going? I mean, that is kind of boring. So let me share with you in a moment what a high-value icebreaker really looks like. And by the way, this is one reason why I actually like Bumble as a dating app, a platform, because you as a woman get to initiate that conversation. Again, I think you as a woman have infinitely more ability, capability to keep a conversation alive and interesting more than most men ever will. And look, here is my promise to you. If you initiate the online conversations and you're able to generate that emotional attraction to a point where you actually meet this man in real life, then he will naturally want to take charge, lead, and step forward when you do meet him. Because he would want to keep that emotional attraction strong by embodying more of his own masculine energy and thus creating more romantic polarity with you. I hope you get that. And look, I get it. The fear of looking low value by chasing a man is always floating around. Of course you don't want to feel like you're chasing a man. Nobody does. Because you're right, it does come across as kind of low value. Not to say that you're low value, but the action can be perceived that way, all right? So what if I told you that there was a way that you can initiate any conversation without looking low value? Not only that, but you also set a playful tone for the rest of that conversation. As a result, you are no longer just another awkward stranger on these dating apps, but instead you become the most interesting, mysterious, and exciting woman men have ever spoken to. No downsides, only upsides. That is the power of what I call high-value icebreakers. They break the ice in a high-value way without overly expressing your interest and at the same time setting a playful tone for the rest of that conversation. Now let me ask you, would you like to learn some high-value icebreakers? If you do, here's what I've done for you. I've been testing some different high-value icebreakers and I want to give you one of my best performing ones for you to use. Now if you like that, then go to highvalueicebreaker.com. That's highvalueicebreaker.com. Now when you get there, you'll see that Facebook Messenger will open up. Just click the Get Started button. Now I've been secretly training my own chatbot, my very own chatbot, to deliver this high-value icebreaker in a way that you can experience for yourself. This is because I want to give you that full experience of what the conversation exchange feels like when you use a high-value icebreaker. Because once you experience it firsthand, you'll get a better idea of how it works in the whole context of online dating. And my promise to you is that by using this specific icebreaker, it will help you instantly inject excitement into the conversation as well as create a sense of interest, fascination, and mystery. Not to mention, this also pre-frames the tone of the conversation so that it won't die another boring and disappointing death like how so many conversations end up, right? At the end of the day, the real purpose is to take you from being another stranger, another awkward stranger, to the most interesting, mysterious, and exciting woman he's ever spoken to within the first couple of minutes. So go to highvalueicebreaker.com to experience firsthand exactly how you can break the ice in a high-value way. Now, I think it's important to remind ourselves, it's not that all men are duds. Some men are really trying, but they truly don't know any better. I mean, I do wish I had the chance to help them out as well. I mean, wouldn't the world be a much better place too, with more loving and passionate relationships? Absolutely it would. All right, so that's all from me. I hope from now on, you as the woman choose to initiate online conversations and feel the power that this offers you. Again, go to highvalueicebreaker.com for the icebreaker. Go to highvaluebanter.com to attend my free class on the most important skill you need in online dating as a woman. I can promise you it will be the best thing you do all week. All right, that's all from me. Sending you some cyber love, and I'll talk to you very soon. Bye for now.